Welcome back, cover lovers. We're talking about the almighty origin story. Thank you for tuning in to Cover Lover Comics, brought to you by FLAKtv. Find love and kindness. Hey, so here we are. We're gonna keep this show rolling. In Long Beach, it wasn't too easy to find comic books, especially in the 1980s. I mean, there weren't really comic shops everywhere. They were just kind of comics every weird place you could think of, from record stores to head shops to one of my weirdest places that I used to get comic books from. It also is the first place I ever saw the Ninja Turtles. There was a newspaper store across the street from the old Long Beach Mall, and they specialized in selling newspapers of the day from around the country. So you can get a newspaper from each state from that day, on the day. It was pretty crazy. In that store, when I think about it in retrospect, they had very little Marvel and DC and a heck of a lot of independent books. I mean, I saw Usagi Yojimbo there for the first time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the first time. It was like issue number 5, I think was my first issue of Ninja Turtles I bought, first print. Pretty stoked on that, and I had never seen the cartoon or anything like that, and I just read this one issue of Ninja Turtles that I got there. And I would go back there and buy other weird things. I bought a copy of X-Men, just weird stuff, just kind of trying to find my footing, because in the beginning, when you're collecting, you're just trying to see what you like, you know, and there's so many options that it's very difficult, especially in 2020. So many options, so many good comics. Anyways, I just got hooked on crazy independent books, and Marvel and the X-Men were a standard, of course, because I had such a large collection of the X-Men and I wanted to fill it out, you know. I actually ended up putting a pretty good collection together, 1963 to 1993, issues 1 through 300, missing about 40 issues. Ended up selling with Jeffrey's Comics. Love you, Jeffrey. You're a great man. Rest in peace. My dudes, my chicks, my cover lovers, my people, everybody. You gotta understand, comic books are not just some kind of a funny medium for putting out superheroes and jock straps with muscles and chicks with large anatomy. Comic books are a huge, huge way to get into all sorts of literature. Fantasy, drama, romance, especially now. So as a young man, I was intrigued and above the moon over comic books. I was about craziness for going everywhere. Comic conventions, giving comic books for my friend, trading toys off for comic books. It was just all a big thing. And so I learned how to flip them, sell them, share them, talk about them, just love them. And let's be honest here, folks, the channel's called Cover Lover Comics for a reason. I firmly believe that sometimes a great cover can draw you into something that you know nothing about and actually make you pick something up that you may have never read before, which is really everything I've done my whole life. So I'm here to share the origin story that tells you about my comic book history. It goes back extremely far. I could bore you for hours with this story. But what it really kind of gets down to is me expressing the fact that when you watch an episode of Cover Lover Comics, you're getting a genuine expression of love for comics. I mean, heck, I'm involved with FLAKtv, Find Love and Kindness. I found love and kindness through comic books, through skateboarding, and through punk rock, and many things. And that's what we're gonna share here with you. FLAK television, FLAKtv, lifestyle. It's what it's all about. This is just one single issue in many, many magazines and articles being released. Cover Lover Comics, FLAKtv. My name is Ray. I'm gonna keep sharing with you as long as you keep sharing with me. Yet again, find love and kindness. Cover lovers, it's time for Go Find It. Go Find It, Ray, what does that mean? A Go Find It is a comic book that maybe it is in mass print, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's worth something, maybe it isn't. However, it's sort of a enigma. A Go Find It is a comic book that I've read that I think is kind of hard to come by. Well, that's why it's called Go Find It. I mean, some of these things have been in dollar bins for like 40 years, maybe longer. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Go Find It! Go Find It! The first issue of any comic that we're gonna have out here for Go Find It is gonna be, boom! Heroes Inc. presents Canon. This is from 1968. This is a Wally Wood book. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Heroes Inc. presents Canon. It's a little anthology book. It's got a few different stories from a few different characters. We'll be looking at this on the camera a little closer here in a second. What this book is a go find it for is because when it came out, it was, you know, I guess little fanfare and I suppose heavily printed. I don't know how many were returned, I don't know how many were burned, I don't know how many were thrown away. But I do know these suckers have been in dollar bins since probably the early 70s. And with the likes of Steve Ditko and Wally Wood, which first of all, if you don't know who Steve Ditko is, read the first few issues of Spider-Man or, I don't know, the first few issues of Doctor Strange. And if you don't know who Steve Ditko is after that, you should go hang yourself. I'm just kidding. Don't go hang yourself. You should go find it! Heroes Inc. presents, brought to you by Wally Wood and Steve Ditko. This is a comic book that has been declared a go find it by Cover Lover Comics because first of all, ladies and gentlemen, the cover is a Wally Wood classic. And inside you have art and story by Wally Wood. You also have collaborations by Wally Wood and Steve Ditko. So here we go. Let's start deep diving into this lovely go find it, and you'll learn why you should go find it. Go find it! Now's the time when we slice this little tiny piece of go find it pie open and see what she's made of. Heroes Inc. presents Canon. So this is a lovely little story. Straight up, you see it right there. Woods, Ditko, 1968 gold. Look at this art, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you see what I'm seeing, lovely colors, jet fighters, and yeah, maybe this is a little bit of a punched on issue, but yet again, who cares? It's a go find it. You're pretty much looking for this thing so you can read it, not so you can flip it or sell it. I mean, if you happen to come across a go find it that's valuable, that's pretty damn cool. And they are out there. We'll be discussing some later. I'm sharing the inside of this book with you because Wally Wood was a legendary artist. In his time, he was doing every kind of cover you could think of. Romance, action, espionage, superhero, just crazy stuff. And same with Steve Ditko. He was very iconic in his ways, but also very secretive. So it's cool that he worked on something, you know? The guy's always doing something cool. I mean, look at this. You got these advertisements for jewelry. You got all sorts of wonderful things, colors. And what's cool too is that this comic book right here promoted the military. Visit a USO. Look to your future. Get some bonds. Buy in, right? So right here you're gonna see we're going into the next story. The next story is also brought to you by Woods, but the other guy is R. Reese. So I would have to do a little research on that, which I probably should have done prior to this, but hell, it's a go find it. We're not talking about gold, we're talking about a go find it. The Misfits. No, it's not Glenn Danzig, all right? It's Wally Wood talking about sort of like, I guess you could sort of describe this as Teen Titans mixed with like Guardians of the Galaxy, sorta. It's pretty rad. Flying saucers, space, crazy looking characters, hot chicks in bodysuits. As we go later on, when we get past this story, each little anthology story is telling a tale about these short stories. My personal favorite is Dragonella. We have this super hot warrior chick, and she was raised by a witch, and she's kind of kicked out of the house for being like really smoking hot. And she's out there sleeping on her thing, sleeping away, and knights keep trying to propose to her, and ogres keep trying to steal her. She's kind of a badass. She's sort of like Red Sonja. It's really good. I highly enjoy the art. The layouts are pretty thick. I mean, I'm not necessarily an artist. So in the back of this book, it has a salute to a medal winner. Yet again, kind of showing how this sort of supports the military, which was a really cool idea. Back cover, yet again, another jewelry ad. Before we get to the actual Dragonella part, you'll see that there is a letter written from Wally Wood to the people. Try to fit this in there. It says, an open letter from the editor. This is your book. We want this book to succeed. To do that, we must please you. Write. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see. That isn't in this issue. And we may, or maybe we will, do our best to go along with the majority. Also, we may print the best ones. For instance, how about humor? Would you like more stories like Dragonella? How about military humor and girls? Everyone loves girls. Would any of you like to see a couple of pages of gags? Anyone like to see a couple of, or would you like this whole book to be about military subjects? Personally, I wouldn't mind military subjects. Personally, I wouldn't mind an occasional true war story, especially on a historical event, Bunker Hill, Waterloo, etc. Although, I'd like to keep the variety of an old-time comic book. But you're the boss. You're the boss. And if you want more and shorter stories, or if you'd like the whole book to be one long story, tell us. In any case, it'll be as good as we can make it. Sincerely, Wallace Wood. Write to Armed Forces Distribution, P.O. Box 23635, Pleasant Hill, California. This is interesting because this book right here is telling you that this is your comic book. They want this book to succeed. This is for people that read comic books. And they want to know what your feedback is. 1968. Damn. Ahead of the game, cover lovers. Wallace Wood and Steve Ditko. Yet again, folks, go find it!